Pre-panel discussion is on redefining education policy transformation with new age technology, innovation, and skilling. And we have our session moderator, whom I'd like to invite on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome Dr. C. Manohar, Senior Director, ISBR, and Chairman, BMA Industry Academia Partnership Initiative. So can we have a huge round of applause to welcome on stage Dr. C. Manohar. A very warm welcome to you, sir. It's such an honor and pleasure to be having you here with us. Welcome aboard. And ladies and gentlemen, also let's put our hands together to invite our panel speakers today. Anupa Gnanakan, Director, School ACTS Group of Institution. Huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Huge round of applause for her. Let's keep that energy a little high because we're just starting off. We need all that energy required. A very warm welcome to you. Mr. Deepak Agarwal, CEO, Cubs, the Preschool and Cubs Sankalp School. Huge round of applause for him. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Dr. Malini Dutta, Principal, BGS National Public School. A huge round of applause for her. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. Sarika M. Singh, COO, Peepal Tree Group. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. Such an honor and pleasure to be having all of you here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome on stage Mr. Sudhakar Joshi, Head Marketing and Client Servicing, Chrysaalis IMAT India Private Limited. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Last but definitely not the least, please help me welcome on stage Professor Noor Afza, Chairperson, Department of Studies and Research in Business Administration, Tumkur University. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. So once again, personally, a very warm welcome to each of you. And like I said, it's such an honor and pleasure to be standing amongst all of you who've contributed immensely into the education sector. So from here, I'd like to give it up to Dr. Manohar. He's going to take over the session.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you, Akshaya. Good morning to everybody. Very good morning. We tend to cheer our students every day when we walk into the school and the class, they cheer. And then if they don't respond, we yell at them. So I don't want to do that. So you could yell at us. Good morning to all of you. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. I must compliment Chandan for creating this wonderful platform. And I think it's not the first time that I have come to your platform, Chandan. And every year I find that you are elevating the status and the stature of the events that you are doing, it be it in Bangalore, Bombay, Pune, Jaipur, anywhere. And I have had at least a few of them experienced it. And I must compliment you the way you have really architectured the whole thing, the design that you have done, and the program structuring is beautiful, and the kind of people whom you have chosen to be a part of this, I think is amazing, amazing. Congratulations to you. Let's give him a big, big, big hand to the team Ordercom. Thank you. Thanks for this opportunity as well. And on behalf of the Bangalore Management Association as well, I bring the greetings of the President and the members of the Management Association to make this event success. We don't look at it when we look at the audience. We don't really look at how big the audience is, whether all the clusters are full. But what you look at, those stars, the shining stars that have occupied each cluster, and the smiles that we see on the faces of everybody. I mean, that is what is going to inspire us. That is where we are drawing the energy from. In fact, you know, Vikram landed in moon, Chandrayaan, and then he had nobody there, Vikram, but then he was performing his duty so well, and the whole universe, the whole world was watching what he was doing and appreciating at the background, the human capability, the competency, the knowledge, the wisdom of all several, I would say, centuries that everything got together, and there we could see what India could achieve in this Chandrayaan. And that has come from whom? From the teachers. The scientists have been made out of teachers. And friends, first of all, my compliments and congratulations to you for firstly being education is being teachers and being part of this whole ecosystem in the field of education. Give yourself a big hand, and I'm included in this. Thank you very, very much. Today's topic, if you really look at it, Chandan has given me a task called the education policy. He has not given the task of defining it, he is asking us to redefine it. So for that we need to understand what has already been defined. And then we are also moving into a kind of a new age. Most of us have already started experiencing what is that new age. I belong to the older than the old age. And here on my panel I find all the new age stars sitting here. It's an exciting experience for me as I am going through this session. And then what are we talking about? We are talking about technology. We are talking about innovation and skilling. And what comes first, we will decipher as we go along in our discussion. So let's look at this education policy as such. After more than 30 years, India started redefining its policy. Let's go back 30 years back when the policy was defined. They focused on the skill development, they focused on building capacity in our younger generation and all that. And then you look at our engineering education, medical education, the UG, PG and the school education, etc. And after 30 years of experimenting, again the government thought, and there was more than 3 years of discussions, deliberations and various forums under a great leader. Then this committee came out with a policy just in the year 2019. Actually the policy was already much before, but it was implemented. It was called the 2020, but it is not implemented in 2020. We have to wait at least another 2 years for the implementation of this policy, though we call it 220 new policy. But then where do we stand? There's a lot that we need to still know about this policy, although most of you must have been contributors to that policy formation as such, but then some of us even not understood even now after reading it several times and even trying to implement it in our own institutions. But then where do we stand? Policy is there definitely. It has got a lot of new things that is there at the primary education to the higher education. A lot of focus is given to the skill and kind of things. Then we looked at it, we are being part of the Washington Accord. Today, whatever, if you are studying in India, this should be acceptable for admission to any other courses in all those member countries of the Washington Accord. So we have come to that level of acceptance in the world when it comes to education. That is one step towards, I would say, reaching to the global scale or the global level. But are we there still? If we start looking at this, where do we stand? We still can't tell ourselves we stand where. If I ask Madam here, she will say we are already at this stage. Ask sir there, he will say we are at this level. We are offering in a geography which is so very diverse. We are Bangalore is one thing, go to Bombay or Pune, but go to a place like Tumkur where Madam Afza comes from, and those schools in the villages and the colleges in the village still have to catch up a lot. Even in Bangalore, there are many institutions who have to catch up a lot. So with this kind of now, again, we are into some kind of a dilemma when it comes to some states, including my own state, Karnataka. It was implemented. It was the first state. They claimed that we are the first state to implement the new education policy, national education policy. Again, we are the first state to withdraw, is what the new government says. So we are caught in a dilemma. We as players, we as teachers, where do we stand? What kind of an ecosystem we are working? We need one side the political ideologies that we have to deal with. On the other side, we need to look at our own children, and then what is it? We have to learn as we go along today. We are pushed to the war, but as we are in the war field, we have to learn how to shoot, how to lift your gun, kind of a thing. That is the situation we are all today. I think with this kind of a background, let me come into the panel here. I'm very, very happy. Thanks for giving me this wonderful starry galaxy here, Chandan. What I will do is, I would request some ground rules for our conversation today. Each one of you, my friends over here, just take 2 minutes to make a signature statement of what you have in the mind with a very free space. You land moon, you land in Mars, it doesn't matter, but you land somewhere. So you have that space for the first 2 minutes to talk about the subject, that is education policy and the transformation. When you keep the new age in my new age includes new generation. We are in a new age when it comes to technology, but our subjects and our objects, our targets, our future is all in the future generation. Keeping that in mind, let you have your free space. Where do we begin? I begin from my right side first. Ma'am, over to you. Please.
Thank you so much, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. So if I were to talk about this topic for today, which is redefining education policy to incorporate new age technology, innovation, and skilling, especially in the school sector, which is what I represent this morning, it all sounds really fancy, especially when you throw in the right words and that we all use in today's conversation. But how do we do this for our students? And how do we do it for ourselves to start with? I mean, technology comes easier to the students than to us. Am I right? So right now, I'm very dependent on technology. As you can see, I have some notes written down because my memory fails me sometimes. But I believe that at first, we need to work on digital infrastructure in our schools. So we can't just say we need to introduce AI and coding, but not have the infrastructure in place. Another important step would be to introduce digital literacy programs for our students from the very early ages. Right from kindergarten, I believe it is very important for them to learn. We, as schools, we need to update curricula to incorporate new age skills such as coding, data analysis, digital marketing, AI ethics, and problem solving. We need to also provide ongoing training and professional development for educators, for us, for our teachers, for everyone, so that we can keep up with what is going on. We need to rethink our assessment methods to include more of technology into the system. We need to think about diversity and inclusion and ensure that technology is catering to all kinds of learners. So redefining education policy to embrace new age technology, it is the ultimate goal for us to prepare students not just for today's jobs, but for a future where adaptability, creativity, and technological literacy are most important. So I'm talking about what we need to keep in place when we think about this topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anupa, ma'am. In fact, there was just 2019 was a great opportunity. I would say it was a terror, but then it was an opportunity to kind of build new capacities within. The COVID did a lot of good also for us. One is, you see, the whole world started looking at what technology can do. That was the time when we looked at, even in the industry for that matter, we didn't have the equipment, the technology that was required in our own hospitals. You started seeing beer companies bottling the sanitizers. You started seeing the aircraft makers and the car makers to making all those technology equipment and kind of things. So it was new learning. But that was the time that tech-based education companies started growing. All of a sudden, you see, be it Byju's or Upgrad and whatever you talk about it, everybody looked at that as an opportunity. But we didn't have the technology that was required for the country. Then back-end people started working. So digital infrastructure has evolved today for adoption in all our institutions. I think you touched a very valid point that we should strengthen our digital infrastructure. May I move to Deepak? Yeah, sir. Thank you. Deepak, from your experience, of course, Sankalp School, and all your experience, what do you think that we should be looking at? Do we look at the technology first, the digital infrastructure first, or the people who are going to be the children the first? Okay.
Thank you for asking this question. Hello, I'm Deepak Agarwal. I'm from a tier 3 city, traveled this morning to Bengaluru. Now, when I mentioned tier 3 city, that was a deliberate thing. Why? Because when it comes to any kind of infrastructure, there is a scarcity in tier 3 cities. Now, as sir rightly asked me, 3 areas that what we should be looking at. One is, no doubt, the technology, the new age technology, or the infrastructure, or the children. I would like to go for the children first. Why? To form an institute, yes, you have funding, you have management, you have skills, you have experience, but more than that, you need good number of students to be, surviving in that kind of scenario. And with this kind of competition that is existing around, what is that you are doing uniquely is the question. So the children, the students form the baseline of any institute. Now, to ensure that these children are coming to you just because not they need an admission, but because they admire your institute, is something that we should be looking at. The first is the children, then comes the infrastructure. It could be a digital infrastructure, it could be, the kind of faculty you have. When we talk about the digital infrastructure, imagine a school without a computer lab is something, beyond your imagination for cities like Bengaluru. But when it comes to the tier 3 cities, we have also set up a computer lab. But what is next? What is that you're teaching them is the question. How to use a Zoom video call conference, how to use LinkedIn, how to use, many social media tools which are available for your disposal. And more than that, you need to ensure that your teachers are up to date. Because even today, I'm aware, like 30% of the teachers are not aware how to use the technology. So we have to train them, keep them upgraded, updated, abreast with the industry, so that they can teach our children end of the day. So one small example that I would like to give here, that how we have strengthened, the infrastructure with children in center of our thinking, or say planning. Now in tier 3 city, you can't even think of teaching any other subject beyond English, Kannada, maths, social science. But we took the challenge of teaching German to them. Now imagine there is no air connectivity, there is no proper rail connectivity. How is that you're going to manage a German teacher teaching German to the Indian students? And that too from not so, a very privileged background. So we used Zoom video call. We used all the social media technology which is available today. The teacher may be sitting in some part of the world in German, Luxembourg, but she is conducting classes as per the schedule and the timings which can match our timings and their timings, maybe twice a week. But we are able to bring in that change which no other schools have been able to implement. And that is why I began saying, you need to have, that uniqueness to stand out of the crowd so that you can gain what you, call as the soul of the institute, the children. So that is something we need to be looking at. And, to close that, definitely children forms the baseline of any institute.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you very, very much for touching these 3 key points. Definitely we have to, the focus is the children, and around that we should look at building understanding their potential capability before even we assess their capability. So that is where we need to begin, then look around the infrastructure, the technology and all that. Let me pick another brain now here. BGS is a very large system, in the country, has made a huge impact on the society, the National Public School. Ma'am, Dr. Malini, what's your take? And I know you have institutional experience, you have the course, your personal experience. What is yours say on this, please?
Thank you so much for this question. Good morning, the August gathering. And thank you so much for the organizing team for this, providing this opportunity and this platform. Now, BGS, talking about that, they are definitely the sentence maker creators. So now when we are talking about the students, we should know that we are handling the lifelines of our country. And we are producing the citizens. So here, technology is definitely a must. We cannot think beyond technology in our school campuses and premises. Now, when we are talking about the school campus and premises and we are talking about technology, we have to bring in certain things that is from outside, outsourcing the things which are there from the private and from the public. We are having sessions like Atal Tinkering Labs. So both these Atal Tinkering Labs and the private concerns that like de facto ed and Ethnotech and STEMX, these kind of organizations have come and have brought into the limelight what technology can derive, what creativity can make, and what innovation can change in the school premises, and what kind of design thinking and creativity skills can be spelled out from our students. I'm so proud to say that through this Atal Tinkering Lab, since last 7 years, the BGS is getting the students' innovation programs at the national levels, and they are the winners constantly, consecutively. This is the 6th year that they have been awarded as the best innovator skills. So when we are talking about this, many kind of this edtech solutions had come up, mushroom croppings had happened. But we as educators and we as the leaders, we need to understand that what kind of certification is going to help our students. So the certifications, we all are aware now that each certification today carries grant points. So we should see that whether these certificates are recognized or not. And if they are recognized, then only we should go for it, giving it to our students and providing the opportunities for our students. And here, this innovation technology, when we are talking to have that in our campuses and premises, we need to have 3 things in place. First is flexibility and adaptability. And there comes the 4 Ps. That are the policies, the practices, the processes, and its implementation. So these things should be first created. And while we are creating, we have to keep it in mind that this will be touching the lifelines of our campuses, that is our students. So our students need to first get the first-hand experience of it, and they are providing a multifaceted challenges and creativity programs to our students. Not only the government of India, through the different skill education centers that have been created and the skill subjects that has been introduced into the CBSE curriculum, but there are other instances they are there where the students are getting the opportunity to exhibit their creative thinking. And design thinking has come in such a big way that it is engulfing the entire curriculum. When we look into the curriculum today, no corner of the curriculum is left beyond creativity. And every teacher is, thanks to CBSE, that they are giving these platforms to the teachers for their continuous training and mentoring sessions, where they are also getting upgrading. So while we are talking about having this creativity and innovation strategies with our students, we need to see that the teachers, those who are the strong pillars of the schools and making it possible, because they are the creators of whatever professions we are having in the world today. So the teacher should be equipped first. So after that, we are making that very much evident. And these vistas that have grown up, the horizons that have enlarged, and the plethora of the things and the platter that has been brought in by this creativity, design thinking, innovation, are something that is making the students 10 years ahead than what we can think and imagine. So I wish all the best to our students and best thinking procedures and ways and means to all the school leaders to take up these ways and means that are coming, and we should embrace all these innovations in the modern technology so that what we are expecting in the global citizenship, and we are forcing what we saw in these 2 years of pandemic that had driven us 100 years into the future. So now we have to see that what today we are giving to the students, they should see that in the next 100 years coming up. So thank you so much, sir, for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Malini. I think you touched some very relevant points of today's context, like you talked about the design thinking, innovation. Firstly, congratulations to you for getting that recognition, for being the best innovator recognition and award. At the same time, you also mentioned about the Atal Tinkering Lab, etc. Now, these are all the kind of encouragement, the programs, the projects that are funded by the government, and the schools should get firstly ready to even to apply, let alone getting it. So that means a lot of work at the back end. Now, it's good, in cities and kind of things, it's possible to do it. But what about, look at those villages in the rural areas. Are our schools able to get these kind of opportunities? Firstly, availability is there. Accessibility possibly is there. Affordability, is it there at all? Kind of a thing that is there. Unless it is funded, you can't really have a good equipment in our institution. Now let us look at the status of a rural institution, rural school, rural college, or a rural university. I don't call this university a rural university. Tumkur University today is definitely it's not even tier 2, it's between tier 2 and tier 1, emerging city. And we have one of the youngest universities of this country is Tumkur University. We have Dr. Noor Afza ma'am here, who represents the university and the ecosystem there in our rural areas and the district. What is your take when it comes to this technology adoption, the facilitation, the resources available, capabilities of the teachers, the problems of the students, their parents, whether they have the kind of technology, equipment, all these kind of things? You may also add anything else that you would like to add. Mike is there over there, man.
First of all, I'd like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity, and thank you, Dr. Manohar sir, for giving me opportunity to share my views on the changing, emerging trends in this technology. I come from a university called Tumkur University. Tumkur is emerging and it considered as a smart city. But when it comes to education-wise, though we are a university, majority of the students come from the rural. Majority of the students come from all the talukas which are in the Tumkur district. Though the NEP National Education Policy was ours was the first university to introduce in the Karnataka. Many of our students were finding it very difficult. The reason behind is most of the papers were on technology, emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, cloud computing, and business intelligence, etc. These students who are coming from the rural background, they are finding it very difficult to adjust to study these papers, because all these institutions, though majority of the students even today lives in rural areas, but when we look at the infrastructure is very, very poor. Rural areas are not catering to the demands of the present world. Though I represent from the university, what we nurture the students to meet the expectations of the market. And many of our students fail to get the job because the industry demands we are not able to match. Though we teach them design thinking, innovation, creativity, artificial intelligence, etc., etc., but skilling is not done. Skill-oriented activities are not being done because of the lack of the experience of the faculties. And industry, we need to have an industry collaboration and industry support to train the people. This is what is lacking in this education. Though rural, if infrastructure is built up, if proper policies have been implemented by the government along with this education policy, we could have seen a lot of changes. Since we are moving from the digital revolution to the advancement of technology, the young talented students of the present generation has to adopt to this technology. In order to make them adopt to this technology, all the educational institutions starting from the primary education to the higher education has to collaborate, and they should work together to build up their skills. Because in the days to come, we have to march ahead and meet the future changes that is going to change in this world and bring a transformational change in this education. So, rural education, we cannot match with the urban because infrastructure is developed in Bangalore compared to other places, though it is developed, but in Tumkur it is not developed. We are struggling a lot. We are we have left no stone unturned to see that our student matches the expectations of the industry. And we are focusing more and more on the skill-oriented activities rather than theory. We take the students to think out of the box. We take the students to go out of the four walls and learn from the market, learn from the real situations, what is happening in the market. And we want them to have an experiential learning. And in this way, we are trying to train the students, skill the students, so that they match the expectations of the industry. Though in spite of developing our curriculum to match the industry standard, but still we need to develop the skills of the students, which is very, very important to meet the goals of these education policy. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very, very much for bringing this context. Today, the reality lies on the ground. When you go to these, villages, we see the status of the school infrastructure. The teachers are really good, as a matter of fact. But then look at those children. And children are not poor in knowledge. In fact, if I recall, last year, Karnataka government, the Bangalore hosted a tech summit. Before that there was a lot of competitions, more than 100,000 students across all the schools, emerging cities, villages everywhere, the competition. The top 10, earlier 3 years, always it was Bangalore used to come as the 1 or the 2. But last year, Bangalore was not at all there in the picture in the top 10. Top 10. All the children who came in this technology competition were from rural colleges and rural schools. I think that tells us the competency is very potential in our children there, even if it is a rural area. But what we are doing it as an ecosystem to generate, develop it, and then flourish it, nurture it. That's what is required. Now let me look at it. Another very interesting Peepal Tree group is very well known and is doing great work, and we hear a lot of good things about the school and the practices. Ma'am Sarika, would you like to take your time, please?
Thank you so much, sir. Good morning, everybody. My name is Sarika, and I think I'm the only one who represents the early childhood education on this platform. Well, we talk about redefining technology from the perspective of schools and colleges. There is a lot that you can talk about, setting up innovation centers, AI, ML, but how is it that we are going to integrate into the curriculum for children who are even younger than 6 years? This was a question which was posed to us when COVID struck. That was the time then we realized the importance of technology, whether it is a pre-primary school or a primary school or any other level. Classes were stuck. We were not able to get the children to school. So how is it that we are going to educate them now? Just because there is a pandemic, we cannot hold on the classes. We cannot stop the development of the children, because those are the crucial years of a child's life. If we are not looking at developing that, we're going to miss out a whole lot of things when they grow up. Because all we know when the children are at home, just with the parents, what are they with? They are either with the television or they are with something, a YouTube channel. So this is very, very important, and we early childhood educators took it as a responsibility. Whatever comes, we have to ensure that education is not stopped. That's where the different platforms helped us. And we really equipped ourselves, to use technology and reach out to the homes of these children. Now, this I would say was wonderful. I'm sorry, but then yes, COVID definitely was not a good phase for any of us. But it was an eye-opener even for parents to get to know about the teaching styles at school. The parents who were teaching the rote learning method of A, B, C, D, start with the capital letters, or do this, do that, suddenly were stunned. Oh, is it? This is how you teach them? Because they were attending the online classes with them. This is what I would say, that was a period of revolution which kind of opened up the eyes of parents to, they learned how to teach children. And I can see a lot of collaboration post-COVID. They actually come back to us. They participate in all the PTMs, wanting to know what to do and how to do, which was never there earlier. Earlier, that used to be, yes, we have also studied in schools, we know it all, it's just have to teach them ABCD, we'll teach them. But it is not only about teaching them ABCD, it is about laying platform, laying foundation for the whole life. And early childhood years are the base of a child's life. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we have the higher education, the middle and the primary school, and even the early child education kind of things, and we have covered broadly. But we talk about technology, but we must also have technology providers for it. A lot of technology has been developed, and we have one, on the panel here who really has technology side, who can represent. Sudhakar sir, would you like to, how technology is now building up to support the needy sectors?
Right. I just want to make one thank. Good morning, everybody. Even I work with the early learning age group, so we understand there are different challenges that children of that age group have. Just before that, I want to make a couple of points on the topic that we're talking of, the national education policy and technology. I think there are two very, very separate, distinct topics. Without technology also, we had a need to change the policy because the world is moving forward. We are not in the industrial age. Now we need to move forward and get into the, the innovation part of it. I think that is one significant change that I see in the learning process that we have today. A lot of innovation coming in, a lot of application coming in, which is what the NEP also focuses on. The second part is the technology, which again is the aid, the facilitator of this whole process, where you're looking at, how do you catalyze the process. So a lot of aids, a lot of technology coming in like AI, ML, all of these are, while to many might sound fancy, but I think they are the future, and that is where even the NEP focuses on. So these are 2 points that I wanted to make. I think the integration of these two is the key to the growth of the nation in terms of how do we come up as the next superpower in terms of knowledge. We've always been a knowledge-based economy where children were taught engineering, medical, but they were always, my friend used to always tell me, programming is like, I'm just a coder. I'm just writing codes. So the point here is we are now moving from just being glorified data entry operators to becoming innovators. That is where the big shift is going to happen in the next probably 10 years. I think we should be, the proof is that we already have a ton of unicorns that are there in the country right now. Many of them are education based. So I think this is where we have to look at the NEP and technology is one.
Thank you, Sudhakar. Well, we have another 5 minutes or so. I would like to pick some questions from the audience before we can get into the final phase of this. Can I invite some questions, please? On any of these things. Technology, yeah, please, ma'am. Mike, can you please pass on the mic over there, please?
Thank you. Good morning to all. I'm Khadija here from Olive Garden Kindergarten. Sir, I have a question with you. You said you have introduced German language in your school. Why is it that you opted German when French is a language which is, worldwide after English?
That's a very good question, ma'am. Thanks for asking that. When I started my, sharing views, I mentioned, the scarcity of the resources. The first teacher we got on board was a German teacher. That is a fact. And, we had to opt for it. The second thing is, German being a foreign language, English is a foreign language, no doubt, but German being a foreign language which is not being taught in 90% of the schools in India, only the 10%, the most privileged cities have this kind of infrastructure, has a lot of future benefits. So we kept children in mind and thought about, 15 years down the line when they will be bumping into the job market, and how is that language is going to play an important role in their lives. So imagine adding that as a foreign language in your resume is definitely going to get you fair amount of scholarships in some of the leading universities, maybe in India or abroad. That is the first thing. The second thing, if you're really looking forward to go and study in Germany, you have a lot of, freebies waiting for you. And the last but not the least.
I think we got the answer. Thank you very much, because, if you really look at the marketplace, Chinese is a very large market. Then Spanish is a much larger market than French or German, if you look at it. So that way, it's a market-driven choices, and there's nothing closing for any other language to introduce. That's a choice of an institution. Thanks for that question. Any other question quickly we can take before we wind up? Any other on the policy, ecosystem, technology, issues, resources, how to access the various channels available to you to get funding, like ma'am mentioned about Atal Lab and kind of things. Today, a lot of funds are also available, but we need to know that first, what is available, where is it available, how to get it, and then working on it. Yes, exactly, very much. So, well, friends, there is a question. Please, Mike, please.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Josephine Kiran Raj, and I run a preschool called Knowledge Origin in Bangalore.
Can you be a little louder, ma'am?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm Josephine Kiran Raj. I run a preschool in Bangalore called Knowledge Origin. The biggest struggle in the industry, I've been an educator myself for the last 18 years, is I see the teacher training perspective to drive any form of learning, right? Like ma'am said, they are the pillars of education, but how we as a school of prime educators yourselves, how are we going to tackle this particular or this very huge problem in helping us, like we schools need to train our educators in order to be a successful education institute. So what are the plans? What do you think we need to do?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
This is a wonderful question, and I think this is the crying need of our, where we are searching that where our teachers can get they can accommodate all the systems. First, CBSE, for the CBSE schools, I will tell that the COE, Bengaluru, and COE of all the regions, they are bringing up training sessions for the teachers and have made it mandatory, 50 hours of training sessions for the principals, 30 hours of training sessions for the teachers. So that is coming from the CBSE. When we are talking about the other schools, preschools and all, first you can encourage your teachers to get the free courses if they are not interested to pay a lot. Platforms like Udemy, Coursera, they have brought a plethora of certification courses, which is the very crying need of the hour for the teachers to accommodate the new changes that are happening in our society. Apart from this, the government of India is also encouraging the teachers to enroll themselves at the various learning and research centers like Allahabad, Hyderabad, Tiruvananthapuram, in Hyderabad, Tiruvananthapuram and Allahabad are the three major centers where it is encouraging for the teachers to get enrolled, and few scholarships has also come up where the teachers are provided the fees for that as well. OP Zindal is doing that a great job while they are giving that professional help to the teachers. Yeah. And there are other private companies also, those who come up to extend their organizational help in coaching, mentoring, and training the teachers. So in that way, you can expose your teachers to the various aspects of new technology and teaching methodology that has come up recently. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very, very much. I think we are we have come to the closure of this session now. What the takeaway from this session is, number one, when we talked about the technology, yes, we need the technology to reach out both vertically and horizontally. And secondly, the curriculum, redefining through the policy and then working on the program content, etc. Very, very important. When it comes to capability building, capacity building, teacher training is first, and then we can adopt those things. It can pass on to the children. I really envy particularly the school teachers. You walk into the space and you see the lovely, the flowering, the smiles of the children and all that. And what do you really like in those children? Where is the joy of looking at these children? If I ask you a question, I ask this question: what is the joy when you look at the child? You get that smile or that innocence. And then when I asked this question to many people, they gave many answers that when they walk into the school, where is the best of joy is coming when you're looking at the child? One great answer I got is, joy is there in looking at them, at their smiles, at their innocence, and the biggest joy we get in making them. Well, friends, we come to the closure of this session. Takeaway is that we need to work on Chandan. We have some takeaway here. We would like to maybe to BMA as well, to work at the grassroots level, create those kind of channels to pass this knowledge and also facilitate accessing the all that is available, including the resources, and applying for those kind of projects like TEL and other things that we have talked about. Thank you very, very much. It's a great learning that we have had this morning. Thanks to all of you for your very, very curious listening that we have enjoyed on the other side. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chandan. Over to you.
A big round of applause and for Dr. C. Manohar for ably conducting the session and adding on that high energy. Is really appreciated. A huge round of applause for him, ladies and gentlemen. And also a big thank you to all our panel guests and speakers. A huge round of applause for them. And at this point in time, I'd like to, ladies and gentlemen, invite on stage the backbone of this event. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome on stage Mr. Kumar Chandan Anand, founder, CEO, and group editor, Adorcom Media Group. A huge round of applause for him. A very warm welcome to you, Mr. Anand.
Let's start. 9 o'clock in Bangalore, unexpected. So this was the energy, and sir, whenever you are there, I understand the energy will be taking care of it. Thank you so much for bringing this together.
I drew energy from this side as well as this side.
And this was a very special panel because it was an amalgamation of school and higher education. First time we tried with this experiment to keep a corporate, higher education and school, and let us see what should be the outcome. And a person from academia and industry. Great. Yes.
I request Mr. Anand to kindly felicitate our panel speakers, starting with Dr. C. Manohar, the Senior Director, ISBR and Chairman, BMA Industry Academia Partnership Initiative. Huge round of applause for him, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And now, request Mr. Anand to kindly present this token of appreciation to Ms. Anupa Gnanakan, Director, School ACTS Group of Institutions. Thank you very much, ma'am. All your inputs and insights are highly appreciated. Thank you very much. Huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Now requesting Mr. Anand to kindly felicitate Mr. Deepak Agarwal, CEO, Cubs, the Preschool. Huge round of applause for him. Thank you, sir, for your immense contribution in today's panel discussion. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the applause would really help, so let's keep that going. Thank you very much. And also, I come from another kind of educational background because I educate people, kids, adults on yoga, meditation, wellness. So what happens when you clap is all your body parts are connected to your palms. And when you do that, it's the easiest and very high exercise for your body. So sitting here, you can be exercising and doing good to your body organs. So let's keep that applause going. Thank you very much. And now requesting Mr. Anand to kindly present this token of appreciation to Ms. Sarika M. Singh, COO, Peepal Tree Group. A bit of a tongue twister there. Peepal Tree Group. Thank you, ma'am, for your contribution in today's discussion. It's highly appreciated. Thank you very much. And now I request Mr. Anand to kindly give away this token of appreciation to Mr. Sudhakar Joshi, Head Marketing Client Servicing, Chrysaalis iMath India Private Limited. Thank you, sir, for being here and contributing immensely to our pre-panel discussion. Thank you very much. Last but definitely not the least, Professor Noor Afza, who joined us here today for the panel discussion. I'd like to thank her personally and on behalf of everybody here. A huge round of applause to her. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. And requesting all our panelists to kindly stand up for a group photograph. Dr. Malini Dutta. Okay. All right, we have Dr. Malini Dutta, Principal, BGS National Public School. So thank you very much, ma'am, for your contribution in today's panel discussion. It's highly appreciated. Thank you. Requesting for a group photograph. Can we have some nice high energy music for our panelists, please? Thank you. Once again, thank you very much.